Selamat malam, salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Dan selamat bergabung di webinar Politeknik Nasional Denpasar yang pada kesempatan kali ini, webinar kami melibatkan industri wisata dan Dinas Pariwisata Provinsi Bali, serta blogger dan influencer internasional dengan judul webinar pada malam hari ini, Tourism Preparation for New Experience After COVID-19. Tentunya dipandu dengan saya, Kartika Prasista, selaku moderator pada malam hari ini. Dan kami menginformasikan pula total peserta yang terdaftar pada webinar kali ini sejumlah kurang lebih 200 peserta. Dan sebelumnya juga, Politeknik Nasional Denpasar telah melakukan webinar yang berkolaborasi dengan Tokopedia, juga Dinas Perindustrian dan Perdagangan Kota Denpasar. Penyelenggaraan webinar kali ini kami selenggarakan selama 2 hari pada hari Selasa 11 Agustus 2020 dengan narasumber Kepala Bidang Pemasaran Dinas Pariwisata Provinsi Bali serta dosen Politeknik Nasional Denpasar. Dan pada hari ini Kamis 13 Agustus 2020. And we greet our honorable speaker. Selamat malam Bapak Krishna and good morning Mr. Nick in Netherlands. Welcome to Nasional of Denpasar webinar. I'm Kartika Prasista, will guide the webinar today. Dan sebelum kita memulai acara, ada baiknya diawali terlebih dahulu dengan doa, dan doa akan saya pimpin. Doa mulai. Doa selesai. Selanjutnya menyanyikan lagu Indonesia Raya. Baik, kami ucapkan selamat datang kembali kepada Bapak, Ibu, serta rekan-rekan yang mungkin baru saja bergabung. Dan sebelum melanjutkan acara, ada beberapa hal yang perlu untuk saya sampaikan. Yang pertama, kami harap peserta untuk tetap tenang dan kondusif selama acara berlangsung. Yang kedua, kami akan memberikan kesempatan untuk bertanya. Jika ada yang ingin ditanyakan, silakan mencantumkan pertanyaan pada kolom komentar saat sesi tanya-jawab. Dan yang ketiga, nanti sebelum acara selesai, silakan mengisi link presensi untuk sertifikat dan materi yang akan kami cantumkan pada kolom komentar. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Before we start the discussion, there are some rules that we need to consider. The first, all participants should remain calm during the webinar. Second, we will open discussion session. If you have any question, please write down on comment column while Q&A session. The third, at the end of the webinar, please fill the attendance of listening for e-certificate and all presentation. Jika sudah jelas, kita akan lanjutkan untuk pembicara yang pertama. And we are going now to the first keynote speakers, Mr. Nick from Netherlands. He is a travel blogger and also influencer who already traveling around the world. All of his trips can be checked on website www.saltinourhair.com and Instagram account with more than 257,000 followers. He will share about experience and traveling tips after COVID-19. And we proudly invite you to join with us. Please welcome Mr. Nick, and the time is yours.
Great, thank you so much for having me, and yeah, I'm very happy that there are so many people as well. I hope you all are doing well. This kind of webinar is very new to me in sense of like, it's a very different topic that nobody thought that this would happen a half a year ago. So I'm gonna do my best and share the presentation with you guys and all the experience we've had with traveling during the COVID situation. Let me see. Okay, so we'll start with a photo of Bali, obviously. I'm gonna explain a little bit about what we do as Salt in Our Hair. So I'm Nick from Salt in Our Hair, obviously, and together with my girlfriend Hannah, I run a travel creation company. So we create content based on travels. So and our goal with that is to promote and support travel in every possible way towards as many people as possible. So basically, we want people to travel. And we do this via our website, saltandhair.com, where we write travel blogs, like travel guides. Additionally, we have Instagram, where we share photos and sometimes videos, and then also videos on YouTube sometimes. We've been, Hannah and I have been doing this for 3 years full time now. And last year we actually won an award for our blog. So that became a prize for the work we've done so far. And over the past few years, so over the past 3 years, we've had the honor to work with, for example, the Indonesia Tourism Board multiple times, DJI, like the drone company, OnePlus, GoPro, and many more companies. So, sorry, our logo. I've just forgot to click through the through the whole. So these are the kind of pictures we do. So you see Hannah here. She's unfortunately downstairs working right now because we're busy preparing for a new trip coming up. Yeah, and obviously the companies we've worked with so far. And then fun fact, Bali, you see a screenshot of our website here. Bali is one of the 2 biggest traffic sources on our website right now. So a lot of people who Google for Bali will come to our website and find their inspiration there. Hannah and I also used to stay in Bali for a long time, but due to the COVID situation, we decided to go home as well to just be near family if something might go wrong with like our grandparents or something. So I'm going to share a little bit about our experience that we had, travel experience that we had during COVID-19. In March, obviously, COVID became a really big problem, especially in Europe, and all the flights were being canceled. And as I said, we traveled back to the Netherlands because if something might happen with our family, it wasn't possible for us to go back to the Netherlands because there were no flights. So we decided to stay with family for for that time. So from March until May, we've been in lockdown for 2 months. So we can only do grocery shopping, and that was basically it. We couldn't see friends or other family. Yeah, so that's where we are now. The travel business obviously took a enormous hit worldwide. So everyone who was supposed to travel, all the travels were canceled. And obviously, as you might understand, a travel blog was very hard during those 2 months as well, because all of our numbers went down on the website as well. However, it gave us a fresh reset as well to relook at the business again and see what we actually wanted to support, because we have the feeling, and we still have this now, that COVID will be here for quite a while. And instead of traveling after COVID, we should name it traveling during the COVID situation. I wish it was different. I see you guys laughing as well. I wish it was different, but I think if we all adapt to COVID, we can really travel, and we can travel safely during this situation. So luckily, by the end of May, we got out of the lockdown, and the Netherlands was opened as we could travel there again. And it is spring in the Netherlands, which means it was spring in May, which means it's good weather. So we went out and just made a lot of photos and articles, as we usually do in other countries outside of the Netherlands. So we created a lot of guides and photos about the Netherlands. And because we needed to change the way we think about business, we actually worked with a lot of, what's the right word? Councils, I guess. So a lot of city halls in the Netherlands. So a few big cities, we've worked with them to promote domestic tourism, to promote tourism towards the Netherlands, to the Dutch people, and to get them to certain places. So you see, for example, the windmills on the left side. We just try to promote these a little bit unknown destinations within the Netherlands. So obviously there were some changes as well for us, because travel became so different. And even in the Netherlands, we needed to wash our hands like a lot, keep distance from each other. And it was advised to not touch your face or like sneeze in your elbow. And we had to wear face masks in all public transport. And we still have, by the way. We still need to wear a face mask. And I do think it's good to just give people the mindset that they will be aware about that COVID is still there. Okay, now we'll move on to how we think COVID-19 will affect travel as it is, and how travel will be in the future as well. So travel internationally have just got to a standstill in April, May, June as well. But now, like most countries, as Bali as well, have a bit of grip on the COVID situation, and they try to open up their borders again for domestic tourism first. And now, like Bali, September, they're going to open possibly for international tourism again. The same thing is going on in Europe, where we can now travel since the 1st of July to other countries in Europe. And now you see travel coming up again. But one thing is for sure, travel won't be the same anytime soon, because we all need to try to keep distance and wear face masks, obviously. So we think that travel needs to adapt to COVID-19, to coronavirus. And we've written down, sorry. Yeah. And we've written down some changes that we think countries should apply first. So as I just said, domestic travel is one of them. Try to promote domestic travel first and see how the coronavirus develops with the with domestic travel. We've seen some examples here in Europe where a country like Spain, for example, opened up for tourism at the same time as they opened up for their domestic travel, so for the local people to travel around. And Spain got a huge spike again of corona incidents. And even people from the UK were pulled out of Spain again. So we just need to be careful and be patient as well. Another one would be avoiding mass groups. Avoiding mass groups is, I mean, I wish we could, but you just see when one person is affected, it goes all the way. Then the private accommodations like Airbnb are more popular. You see that if you go on a booking.com or where you could just like book hotels, hotels are simply less popular because there are more people in there right now. So if there are people listening now who have just an accommodation or like separate kind of rooms, you see that these kind of bungalows or Airbnbs where people have their own private space sell much better right now and are much more popular. Then the last one for Europe as well is traveling by car has become incredibly popular, simply because people aren't convinced that sitting in an airplane with a lot of people will prevent them from having coronavirus, which I get, but I think we still need to, like, traveling by airplane, you want to get somewhere. If we, for example, want to go to Asia, we can't go by car. It takes ages. So yeah, eventually we will travel by airplane again. Okay, but the things we can change is one thing. Then you also have businesses and countries, obviously, who rely on tourism. Like Bali is a country who is an island who relies on tourism. They need to adapt to COVID, obviously, as well. And that's for the reason to make the customers just when a new customer comes to Bali, when a new tourist comes to Bali, you just want them to have a safe feeling that you as an island or as a company do everything you can to make them feel safe. So for example, I would, if it's possible, they should offer like smaller group trips, possibly family group trips, but I understand that a lot of people will come in couples or even as a single. So if smaller group trips is an option for a tour operator, this would be one of the steps to go with, to just give the customer a safer feeling. Then other than that, it's physical distancing. So keep the 2 meters distance from each other, wear face masks, wash hands, provide hands. And you have heard all of these things probably. So for the larger tourist attractions, which they've been doing in Europe now, is applying a kind of reservation system. So if name like one of the bigger tourism attractions in Bali, the government, I guess, should help smaller businesses with the reservation system. So this is in order to have control over the amount of people that will be at the place every hour, to spread it over the day. Then then a second one the government could help with is more contact-free payments like Apple Pay, or in Indonesia you have GoPay or GrabPay. And you see this already at some of the shops and cafes and restaurants. But I think contact-free payments is something that would massively help as well with like not holding cash and handing over cash, which might contain coronavirus. And then finally, I think it's also a good point to support the sustainable tourism. So try to, obviously sustainable tourism is also domestic tourism. So people from Java, for example, coming over to Bali, but also simple things like using local products instead of imported products, because Bali has quite a lot of resources. Same as renewable materials. I've seen people make a lot of things from banana leaves and bamboo and all of these things that are pretty easy to apply, but a lot of companies were I think maybe afraid of making the steps, but I guess this is the right time to make this move, and it also gives off a voice towards your tourists, like, hey, we're trying to do the best we can in every possible way. And in this case, in this way, you would reposition Bali as a sustainable tourism destination as well. So all these small changes will eventually make a huge difference, and in the final safety towards the experience for tourists. And also, I do understand that the changes might cost extra, but these costs can also be applied to what tourists pay for their stay. Bali is a relatively cheap island for Western tourism. And if they want to, I know like the Bali water problem, for example, with not having enough showering water, all of these things where if they would ask a bit more money from the tourists and apply it in these kind of projects where tourism would be good for the island, but the island will be healthy as well. So in this case, it's really starts with the government, is my feeling, or Hannah and I are thinking about this situation. So this means help transforming local businesses, take the safety measures for both tourists and locals who work with them, and informing tourists who come to Bali about the COVID regulations, because we've seen that the majority of the countries in Europe don't really do this. They just try to get you to their country, but once you're there, you're surprised about all the regulations going on, and that you possibly need to wear a face mask all the time, and all of these things. So yeah, it starts with the government, I think. Now our final slide is how Hannah and I, so how we as Salt and Hair will try to change our travels. Let me see. Yeah. So in a few days, actually in 2 days, we will travel for the first time in Europe again, so outside of the Netherlands. So this is the first time in 5 months. And unfortunately, numbers of COVID are still rising in Europe. And therefore, we need to be extra safe. We're gonna visit the Czech Republic and Poland together. And we're gonna rent a car in those countries. So we're gonna rent a car and drive around by ourselves. So we won't be going on much public transport, and we try to avoid big groups, just as I mentioned in the previous slides. In this way, we hope to be as safe as possible, and like we could carry the coronavirus with us as well without knowing. So if we keep a distance from other people, they won't get affected either. Let me see if I have something else. Okay. So yeah, we're looking we're looking forward to our travels very much, and even to come to Bali again. So yeah, we're hoping that Bali will open its borders as well soon. But if you're interested in following our next month of travels during the COVID situation, you can follow us on Instagram at @saltandhair, where we post our daily photos and stories, and sometimes videos as well. Yeah, you have a selection of our photos here. Please take care, everyone. And I'm gonna say something in bahasa. Saya berharap untuk segera kembali ke Bali. Terima kasih. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Nick, for presentation, sharing knowledge and useful experience, Mr. Nick. And please stay with us because we have this discussion session after the second speakers.
Yeah.
Dan terima kasih atas sharing materi yang disampaikan tentunya, dan dapat menjadikan persiapan bagi kita juga ya, mungkin akan traveling setelah COVID-19 ini. Jadi saya simpulkan terlebih dahulu apa yang disampaikan oleh Mr. Nick tadi. Mr. Nick adalah travel blogger dan juga influencer. Dia sudah berkeliling dunia dan bisa dilihat di website, juga Instagram, dan juga YouTube. Jadi kita harus bisa beradaptasi dengan kebiasaan baru dan dalam melakukan perjalanan selama pandemi COVID-19 ini. Karena kita tidak tahu kapan COVID-19 ini juga akan berakhir. Dan ada banyak hal yang berubah dalam kegiatan pariwisata atau traveling, terutama kita harus menyesuaikan dengan protokol kesehatan yang baru. Nah, kita akan lanjut. Mr. Nick?
Yeah.
Can you please close your screen?
Yeah.
Slide screen. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Dan selanjutnya kita akan undang pembicara kita yang kedua, yaitu Bapak Krishna Arya SST.Par selaku General Manager Trip.com Indonesia. Dan mari kita undang kepada Bapak Krishna untuk langsung bergabung. Selamat malam. Selamat malam Bapak Krishna.
Hai, selamat malam. Om Swastiastu semua. Apa kabar?
Om Swastiastu, kabar baik. Bagaimana kabarnya Bapak?
Kabar baik, terima kasih.
Baik ya, terima kasih. Bisa langsung di-share screen-nya terlebih dahulu?
Baik, sebentar ya.
Oke, jika sudah siap, waktu dan tempat kami silakan. Mr. Krishna, time is yours.
Right, good evening, everyone. First, thank you for the committee for organizing this webinar, and it's a pleasure for Trip.com could have a chance in delivering more information about the brand and the strategy to implement post-pandemic. So my name is Krishna Arya. Feel free to call me Krishna. I'm the General Manager for Trip.com Indonesia. To hit the presentation, allow me to introduce Trip.com, that is owned by Trip.com Group and has been registered in Nasdaq ST.Com. We are an industry-leading online travel agent with a strong global network positioning over 20 years. And our headquarters is in Shanghai, and Bali is the headquarters for Indonesia region. So we continuously provide the best services to our 400 million members across 31 countries and regions. And we proudly lead the global OTA industry with sustainable fast-paced growth. And we are positioned as #1 in overall gross merchandise value and flight booking, as well as the industry leader for hotel bookings. As you can see from the data that provided, we are leading in the overall GMV, flight bookings, and hotels booking. And as an international OTA leader, we aim to create the best travel experience to our customers. And we are very optimistic with the opportunity of a large base of young consumers with high buying powers. And Trip.com is dominated by the productive age range. So 81% of our customers are 16 to 45 years old, with high potential of customer behavior staying in 4- and 5-star hotels, as you can see from the data provided. Next up, why is Trip.com unique? So we are unique for all we are, like all-in-one platform, seamless mobile experience, and also 24/7 customer support available across the globe. And here's a slide presentation on Trip.com.
Check-in is on Tuesday, October 1st for the stay you added at Chawang Garden Beach Resort.
Yeah, well, so as all-in-one platform, Trip.com, the travelers, our customers could book complete trips starting from flights, hotels, trains, and other experience in their fingertips. And our customer could experience seamless mobile experience. Our apps are user-friendly and available on Apple Store and Google Play Store. Jadi bagi yang belum punya Trip.com apps, feel free untuk download, dan kita punya banyak interesting offers untuk hotels dan flights di dalamnya. And we could also available and accessible in PC and mobile web version. Worry-free for the customer support, as we have 24/7 with 19 spoken languages. Jadi untuk yang punya masalah terhadap experience dalam Trip.com apps, bisa menghubungi customer support kita yang available 24 jam. So we also provide wide option payment option for international travelers based on their comforts. And we have been working very closely with numerous airlines, international brand hotels, and other global company partners in order to provide a seamless experience which is timely and relevant to our customers. We could see that prominent brands featured with us like Four Seasons, Marriott, ISG, and also Shangri-La Group. And we have been intensively implemented series of marketing exposure in 14 different countries and regions, with several examples we lately have announced that we are going to feature on the next slides. As what you can see here, one of them is the South Korea TV commercial. That is product placement. On the left is the cast for Doctor Strange. Bagi yang suka nonton film, udah tahu dong ini siapa. So Doctor Strange is the cast of Tilda Swinton as the Ancient One. And a scene from one Korean drama, yang suka nonton Korean drama, will probably help me to get to know the title of this drama. So this is also featured in one of the Korean drama that demonstrate how to use Trip.com mobile apps that we feature in other countries outside China. On the other country as well, we have numerous partnership in Japan TV commercials, sport product placement, and co-branding too. And we have it also on Hong Kong bus and metro ads, what you can see here. And our neighbor country of Singapore have it too on their metro and their bus stations. So our marketing exposures are all over the world. Well, I hope the introduction of Trip.com has made you pretty much understand on our brand, and don't hesitate to download Trip.com apps right away so you could experience travel from your fingertips. And next up, we're going to move forward with the second topic of the revival plan that we have been implemented during this unprecedented period, with hope that it could help to attract more customers to overseas countries, especially Indonesia. So, recovering from COVID-19. How are we recovering from COVID-19? Taking a little throwback of the last pandemic happened globally, SARS was first reported in November 2002 and ended in June 2003. A month after, which was July 2003, hotels occupancy for partners that have been working with us had grown 70% year over year. And the next year of March and April 2004, the performance growth increase of 164% and 869% respectively. So this is one good sign of the customer's behavior that we could demand after the pandemic. So a recent survey polls that have been conducted by Trip.com group saying that 85% of the users will resume to travel once COVID-19 is successfully contained. And I think we also cannot wait to line up in the airport for traveling, either for business or leisure. Jadi survei mengatakan bahwa 85% dari user kita akan siap untuk kembali traveling ketika COVID-19 sudah successfully contained. Yep. The next slide shows the data after the SARS was contained, the following Golden Week holiday. So this is the most important holiday for the Chinese. Independence holiday for Chinese is on the October 1st to 10th. We could see the YOY spikes 11.5% and reached to 90 million trips in that time. Flights fully recovered the next month with positive YOY of 13% that the Dragon Air to make back in 2004. And for China, update dari China Domestic Tourism Update, domestic travels within China is truly potential. So based on the data on June this year, the domestic travels have recovered by 60% comparing to the same time last year. Jadi ada prinsip lebih baik traveling dekat-dekat dulu daripada tidak traveling sama sekali. Karena kalau dilihat dari masyarakat Cina sendiri, customer behavior-nya mereka memang suka traveling, dan bagi mereka traveling di antar provinsi dengan train atau local flights juga cukup convenience untuk mereka lakukan. Dan saat ini persentase untuk recovery-nya lumayan tinggi, yaitu 50-60%. As we could see, the hotels booking in China have been gradually recovered. Kita bisa lihat hotel bookings di China itu lumayan recovered. So this is the hotels booking and the flight bookings. We could see during the first quarter, the trend of flight bookings and hotel bookings are showing a very good performance, but because of the COVID-19 happening on the February to March in China and spreading around the world, we could see that the factors like lockdown and border closure for some outbound destinations for the Chinese guests affected the number of travelers going abroad from China. And the next data is about the Trip.com travel prediction. So for some short-haul countries, we could see they have been gradually recovered by 20% comparing to the same time last year. And for the time being, we all know that the recovery plan for Bali to open for foreign tourists is under a negotiation by our governance. So if the plan goes well, jika kita berhasil membuka border kita dan mengundang beberapa negara untuk mengincludekan Bali dalam travel bubble mereka, kita bisa expect growth di bulan Oktober, yang mana ini juga merupakan China China Independence Holidays. Jadi kita bisa prediksi bahwa number of traveling akan sedikit naik dibandingkan yang sebelumnya. Ini prediksi di keseluruhan overseas, jadi ini akan berlaku berbeda di setiap negara. Karena balik lagi, the critical notes dari visa untuk restriction-nya lebih direlaksasi, itu akan menjadi peran penting bagaimana customers bisa kembali ke Bali ataupun Indonesia. So the critical notes of the relaxation of visa restriction for foreign tourists coming to Indonesia is about determined by how many direct flights we could secure arriving to Bali or other big cities in Indonesia. So next, we revealed Trip.com top 20 destination based on search by our customers and identified 2 destinations in Indonesia, which are Bali and Bintan. We could tell that Indonesia and Bali in particular remain potential for recovery among Asia destination competitors. Trend for the upcoming travel behavior is independent traveler. So it is going to be FIT business because the customized tour and group tour will not be as easy as it was because we have the restriction of social distancing and also the restriction for doing a large amount of event that is full of many people. So there is also another thing that if we could reinstate the visa requirement for Chinese guests as a free visa country, it will surely help to fasten the recovery post-pandemic. Jadi ini benar-benar bergantung kepada visa juga ya. Selain flight tadi saya jelaskan, visa, relaksasi visa dari kementerian juga akan sangat-sangat berpengaruh dalam kesuksesan kita untuk kembali lagi menghadapi bisnis yang normal seperti di tahun 2019 atau di tahun-tahun sebelumnya. So, what we are doing for overcoming this kind of things, for domestic and overseas destinations that have been gradually recovered, our customers' desire to travel have grown stronger. So for some uncertainties that limit them from traveling, Trip.com has found an effective way to overcome their consideration on the traveling period. So we react to their doubts. We design pre-sale method that is, you all here, buy now, stay later, campaign that we could provide to our customers with more flexibility to plan their future trips with exciting offers. So the pre-sale hotel that we have done so far is available to book up to 30th of June next year. So our guests could have adequate enough time to really plan on their trips and looking into the consideration of each borders of the countries to open. So it is really giving them flexibility in doing and replanning their trips, the upcoming ones. So if you have already installed the Trip.com apps, you could see that many hotels have already joined and participating with us and providing us with so many good offers that you can check and book by yourself. So we have done a series of live streaming in China. So this takes Chinese market by storm because the viewers hits over 2 million viewers. Through this live streaming, our founder, James Liang, highlighted a destination sharing experience, travel guide, also hotel product recommendation. So we highlight carefully on the selected hotels only that partner with us and provide us the special rates and inclusion during the live streaming. So this kind of strategy of the marketing exposure and activities will both beneficial to the hotels on the marketing exposure that they would receive, and our guests could enjoy numerous good deals for their upcoming stay. It's coming to one of my last slide. So by far, aside from China, we have also successfully arranged the same live streaming in several overseas countries like Singapore, Malaysia, Hong Kong, Japan, and also Korea. And we do have the compilation of exotic destinations like Bali, Nusa Lembongan, Labuan Bajo, and Maldives as well that was resulting very well, that we could expect numerous travelers are ready to book to certain destinations and hopefully to Bali in the near future. So that is pretty much the action that we have shifted during the new normal in order to expect more tourists to come to Bali and to Indonesia. And we do hope that number of active cases in Indonesia and Bali keep decreasing, and we could be successfully arrange the contingency plan for Bali to reopen to foreign tourists and really back to the business and back to the game. Okay, I think that's all from me. Thank you so much.
Baik, terima kasih Bapak Krishna atas pemaparannya dan sharing materinya yang hari ini. Tentunya menambah pengetahuan kita juga tentang trip.com. Dan selanjutnya kita akan masuk langsung ke sesi tanya jawab. Dan kami undang kembali kepada dua narasumber kita untuk bergabung. Dan sekali lagi bagi yang ingin bertanya, langsung bisa menuliskan pertanyaan pada kolom komentar dengan format nama, pertanyaan ditujukan pada siapa, dan pertanyaannya apa. Sekali lagi, jika pertanyaan dapat diajukan dalam bahasa Indonesia maupun Inggris. Jika pertanyaan diajukan dalam bahasa Indonesia kepada Mr. Nick, kami akan menerjemahkan ke dalam bahasa Inggris ya. And we invite back our speakers, Mr. Krishna and Mr. Nick, to join us. If you have any question, please write down your name and question and who speakers the questions for. Dan kita batasi untuk masing-masing menjawab 3 pertanyaan. Sekali lagi yang ingin bertanya langsung saja bisa menuliskan pada kolom komentar. Dan kita informasikan juga untuk link presensi akan kita cantumkan pada kolom komentar. Sekali lagi bisa diisi karena terkait dengan sertifikat dan juga presentasi yang dipaparkan pada hari ini. Sekali lagi link presensi akan kita cantumkan pada kolom komentar. Sudah ada beberapa pertanyaan yang masuk. Mungkin bisa dijawab langsung oleh Bapak Krishna terlebih dahulu.
Oke, ada beberapa pertanyaan. Saya mulai dari
yang pertama, ada Muhammad Sony.
Oke, pertanyaannya ditunjukkan kepada saya, bagaimana cara trip.com bertahan di era pandemi seperti ini? Inovasi apa saja yang sudah dilakukan? Ya, yang seperti saya sudah bilang, kita mengubah cara kita untuk meng-attract customers, karena saat ini uncertainty itu sangat real, jadi mereka customers itu benar-benar merasa tidak secure untuk traveling. Jadi bagaimana cara kita untuk memberikan rasa aman dan nyaman untuk mereka planning trip mereka adalah dengan cara mengubah sedikit pola penjualan menjadi buy now, stay later, di mana kita bisa menjual produk hotel ataupun produk travel dan tourism yang lain, sehingga mereka bisa nikmati nanti sampai dengan tanggal 30 Juni 2021 misalnya. Jadi ini salah satu hal yang kita lakukan, manuver yang kita lakukan untuk meng-attract customer ataupun calon tamu kita untuk booking, dan juga ini bisa membantu hotel partners kita untuk bertahan, karena bagaimanapun juga mereka sudah bisa memproyeksikan occupancy ataupun tingkat hunian kamar mereka nantinya di masa yang akan datang, seperti itu. Mungkin menjawab pertanyaan.
Oke, selanjutnya itu pertanyaan yang pertama. Masih ada 2 pertanyaan lagi yang bisa Bapak jawab, Bapak Krishna jawab. Silahkan untuk menjawab pertanyaan yang mungkin menurut Bapak bisa untuk dijawab, atau yang pertanyaan yang menarik.
Oke. Pertanyaan menarik sih dari Bapak Ngakan Purwita ya. Jadi question to me is about could you please tell us any kind of strategy how to encourage people or not to worry during the COVID-19. I think the campaign of new normal have been very actively reheard nowadays, and we really need to embrace the situation. It is not only waiting for the storm to pass, which is the COVID-19 to pass, but how we dance in the rain, which is now how we really react during the COVID-19. We can start by, for me, we could start locally travel local that you can do by overland. So it's not necessarily through airlines. So try to feel how your body and how your feeling reacts to it. If you found that there is no such thing that harm you and your family, for example, or your friends, you could start also planning for another another longer trips, so that you could anticipate and prepare the health and safety protocol. For me, myself, I think by adhering to the appeal by the government, by wearing the mask, for example, or really do the social distancing, that will help us to avoid the COVID-19 infected us. And most importantly, that we need to be very fit and healthy in order to bear the consequences of the traveling in this kind of situation. Yeah, I think we just need to deal with ourselves and just travel. Okay. Kemudian ada pertanyaan.
Baik, satu pertanyaan lagi mungkin.
Okay, how many losses? I think most of the players in this industry have experienced loss because of the situation is not as what we expected. Because as a company that have goals of really accommodating our customer needs, we have come further to the globalization of Trip.com this year, but it affects the overall business. I think it's quite impacting. We could discuss this offline about this, but we keep doing our normal service by providing our customers with wide open options of staycation hotels, for example, that they will still be having in our platform. And we also communicate and working collectively with hotels to really deliver to their expectation, because what they need is the hygiene and sanitation level to be enhanced, and they need to feel safe during the experience in the hotel. So we also communicated with hotel that they really need to do the suggested actions to prevent the COVID-19 affected in their local premises. So yeah, it is still normal, but only the business got affected. So gradually it will be improving as long as we have the communication between the immigration and also the Ministry of Transportation, that once the border is opened and we could lobby more flights, international flights to be precise, we could expect more customers to come to Bali. Yeah, I think that's covered the 3 questions that I need to answer. Thank you.
Oke, terima kasih Bapak Krishna atas jawaban yang disampaikan. Mungkin jika ada waktu lagi, nanti kita akan buka sesi tanya jawab lagi. And now, the questions for you, Mr. Nick. You get question from Kartika, and we translate it. The question is, do you have consideration in visiting a destination during the COVID-19 pandemic? Any priorities maybe?
So if
Time is yours. Okay.
The question is if I consider going to a destination, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yes, very, because I really like a destination to, as I explained in my slides, that it takes care of its tourists and also for its local people. So in terms of Bali, I saw also another question about how I would feel if I have to do a test when I come to Bali. I think that the more Bali or Indonesia will do to make tourists and local people feel safe, the better it is, in my opinion, because I would feel safe as well when I enter a country, and it will do everything to be COVID-free as much as possible, with like social distancing and everything. But also there are many destinations around the world where people come, for example, for a party, for example, and they come drinking and partying and stuff. Although these are tourists, I think like you have to check everyone. You have to be really careful and not let everyone just in. So I do like that they would do corona tests, for example, when you enter a country, or maybe give you a face mask or something like that, maybe hand sanitizer. And I think a lot of other countries are trying to implement this. For example, in the Caribbean islands in Europe, they have, from the government, they provide you now with a free insurance. If you get corona in their country, they will pay for your insurance. So in this way, you at least give your travelers a safe feeling. And I don't say this is an option for every country and they should do this. But there are many ways that I would feel more safe in a country. So yes, I definitely consider looking at what a country does to prevent corona in their country.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Nick, for the answer. And then you can choose question that should be answered on comment columns which written for you. You can choose 2 questions.
Okay. Let me see. Okay, 2 are pretty similar. So there's one about the very first things that made you travel, and the other one is, what is your motivation to travel and make incredible content? So first is, we simply wanted to see more of the world, obviously. So we saved a lot of money with working, and then we traveled. But we never expected to really fall in love with traveling, with like getting to know all these kind of communities and different kind of countries, and how every country is so different. And what is my motivation to travel around the world? So it's basically the same, to be honest. We really love to get to know people and get to know cultures, and capture this in the way we do, and then share this with other people to show how incredible destinations are. Because even for Bali, sometimes they say to us, Bali is very touristic, but then we've been to so many beautiful places in Bali where there is nobody. So we just show them photos and videos, and to really like show people like yeah, it can be busy in Bali sometimes, but you can also like go off the path and find the hidden gems. Yeah, that's it. Let me see if there's another English question. What's the most important thing for you considering traveling the new normal? I guess I've answered this. Like we really looked at countries, what they do to avoid a new wave of corona patients in their country. So that's the thing. We look at what they and companies try to prevent their corona cases within their country. I guess this is it for all the questions in English. Not sure if there's still an Indonesian question.
Okay, I think one more question from Rosjin about what is your opinion about the new rule where the guests should follow rapid test when come to Bali?
Yeah, this applies on my previous answer as well. I would be fully support a supporter of this rule. It has worked in other countries as well, and although it might feel odd, I think it's simply for safety for your travelers and the local people as well. If there's a second outbreak in a country, in an island like Bali, then tourism will go down again. That's the last thing you want. So I would say like 100% go for all the safety measures and prevent the second outbreak. If you look at examples for Europe, for example, some have done the right, like have done the rapid test, like Greece and some other countries. But then, if you look at Spain, for example, it has been like on the opposite. So they've done basically nothing really, and they are having a second or already a third wave right now with a lot of hit in the tourism sector as well. And that's the last thing you want if people come from Europe, for example, from America even, and they fly to Bali, and there's already a second and third wave. Yeah, that's my answer.
Oke, thank you Mr. Nick. Dan saya mungkin bisa terangkan kembali, jadi Mr. Nick mendukung aturan ini karena aturan ini banyak dilakukan juga oleh negara lain dan ini menjadi pengamanan standar untuk memastikan keselamatan selama traveling di masa pandemi COVID-19. Dan kita lanjut lagi, ada satu pertanyaan lagi untuk Bapak Krishna dari Rudy. Mungkin saya bacakan pertanyaannya dulu. Saya pernah lihat Bapak sering sekali di Bali TV, trip.com yang saya pahami merupakan booking engine yang berasal dari Cina. Bagaimana market share wisatawan Cina saat ini menggunakan aplikasi trip.com? Mungkin bisa dijawab terlebih dahulu.
Iya, Pak Rudi, itu 10 kg yang lalu ya, saya di Bali TV. Itu terakhir 6 tahun yang lalu sih. Kemudian saya memilih berkarir di dunia hospitality dan juga sekarang di online travel agent. So it was the start of my career, by the way. Thank you for asking. Thank you for noticing. Ya Pak, jadi kemarin dulu memang Trip dan Trip.com ini awal mulanya kan kita namanya Trip. Kemudian kita memang punya idea untuk going global, sehingga kita merebrand nama kita menjadi Trip.com. Seperti itu. Kemudian karakteristik wisatawan sebenarnya di Cina itu semuanya serba online. Tapi kita punya komitmen untuk mendatangkan tamu ke Indonesia, terutama ke Bali, dengan cara offline. Jadi offline ini kita punya 8.000 offline agents yang tersebar di seluruh Cina. Kita utamakan kota-kota yang baru berkembang, karena kota-kota yang mature seperti Shanghai dan Beijing, 80% user atau customer kita memang sudah booking semuanya lewat online. Tapi kita mau menyasar orang-orang yang punya daya beli tinggi, tapi belum melek teknologi, dalam artian memang masih menyukai beberapa praktis seperti offline dan group travel. Tapi sekarang, data yang kami punya, tren untuk wisatawan terbang ke Bali untuk berlibur, itu sekarang sebenarnya lebih banyak FIT atau Free Individual Traveler, yang mana mereka tidak harus ada dalam satu grup. Gitu. Jadi mereka bisa sendiri merancang destinasi kemana saja dia mau pergi, kemudian kita sediakan semua fasilitasnya, termasuk tour travel and tour guide, kemudian rental mobil, car rental, seperti itu. Jadi kalau memang kemarin ada sedikit, jadi kita memang tidak pernah akomodate grup. Jadi Trip.com ini memang selalu mengakomodate FIT guest, yang mana memang ada beberapa isu yang konon dinyatakan bahwa tidak ada devisa atau zero devisa seperti itu. Itu sebenarnya sih adalah salah satu bisnis yang kita tidak lakukan, kita tidak pernah lakukan. Jadi kita memang fokus di FIT. Dan kita memang komit untuk menyediakan experience yang terbaik untuk para tamu kita, which is our FIT guests, seperti itu. Jadi kalau misalnya tanggapan saya mengenai WeChat Pay, kalau melihat dari sisi seorang traveler dan juga sisi seorang pelaku pariwisata, sebenarnya WeChat Pay ini kita tidak bisa menyalahkan ataupun membenarkan ataupun menyalahkan lah. Karena bagaimanapun juga ini adalah customer behavior dari Cina sana. Karena semua transaksi yang ada di Cina menggunakan WeChat Pay. Di sana jarang sekali orang bawa dompet dan uang cash. Akan sangat jarang. Jadi yang bawa uang cash dan yang mungkin yang membawa dompet, terutama uang cash itu sudah bisa kita tebak itu adalah wisatawan. Karena beberapa toko-toko, merchandise, kemudian toko convenience store maksud saya seperti 7-Eleven atau di sini kayak Indomaret, Alfamart itu semuanya menggunakan WeChat Pay. Jadi dia tinggal bawa handphonenya dia aja, kemudian dia bisa tap langsung untuk melakukan pembayaran seperti itu. Nah, jadi bagaimana pengaplikasiannya itu di Indonesia? Ya menurut saya sih mereka memang harus masing-masing company dan juga kita punya pemerintah harus menerapkan strategi pajak yang tepat sehingga apapun transaksi yang dilakukan di Indonesia akan dapat membantu kita untuk mendapatkan keuntungan. Jadi semuanya harus dilakukan dengan sinergi yang tepat dan action plan yang tepat sehingga tidak merugikan kedua belah pihak karena bagaimanapun juga nature dari mereka untuk bertransaksi seperti itu. Dan jika kita punya ekspektasi atas nature yang mereka punya dan mereka selalu lakukan, maka kita harus menjembatani ini sehingga bisa menguntungkan tidak hanya customer kita, tapi juga negara kita. Ya, terima kasih. Mudah-mudahan menjawab.
Oke, thank you Bapak Krishna, Mr. Krishna, dan kita kembali lagi kepada Mr. Nick. Hello Mr. Nick, one question again for you from James Gunn. Games with activities that can be classified as extreme and move between countries. Do you think insurance is important for travel blogger? Until when will you be adventuring?
Okay, so I just take this as if an insurance is important for us as travel bloggers. Yes, of course, we usually travel all the time, and if something goes wrong, your camera falls down or you lose something, then the travel insurance usually covers that. However, I do think that it's not only important for travel bloggers. I'm pretty sure that 75% of the Netherlands alone, all the people have a travel insurance when they travel. So it's simply to be insured for when things break or you lose things. So travel insurance is important, yes. The second question, I don't fully understand. Until when will you be adventuring? I'm not sure. So I'll just give an answer in terms of we will go traveling now for a month. So we will travel through 2 countries in Europe, and then we will come back to the Netherlands and work on the content that we've made. But we will also have a second look at the COVID situation in the countries. Hopefully by then there's more news about Bali as well. So we know like if we eventually, maybe before the end of the year, can visit Bali again. So yeah, we will see. Okay, I think that's my answer to the question.
Okay, thank you Mr. Nick. Dan saya akan simpulkan untuk webinar kita pada malam hari ini. Jadi dapat saya simpulkan ada banyak hal yang berubah dalam kegiatan pariwisata, terutama harus menyesuaikan ya sekarang dengan protokol kesehatan yang baru. Dan model adaptasi juga mulai dari pariwisata lokal, jumlah peserta wisatawan dalam kelompok besar, pemilihan akomodasi, dan saat ini kalian juga bisa menggunakan trip.com sebagai salah satu search engine yang untuk melakukan kegiatan wisata sebagai pertimbangan juga bisa mengecek salt in our hair sebagai panduan. Nah, kita sudah berada di penghujung acara. karena sudah tidak ada lagi yang bertanya, jadi saya ingatkan kembali juga untuk link presensi masih dibuka sampai dengan jam 8.30, jadi sampai dengan setengah 9 malam. Silakan diisi sesuai dengan yang ada ketentuan di sana. Karena terkait dengan sertifikat dan juga presentasi yang disampaikan pada malam hari ini. Dan kami mengucapkan terima kasih kepada narasumber yang sudah berbagi ilmu serta informasi pada malam hari ini. Semoga bermanfaat tentunya dan dapat memanfaatkan dengan baik juga dengan rekan-rekan. Dan terima kasih juga atas partisipasi Bapak Ibu serta rekan-rekan yang telah bergabung pada webinar Politeknik Nasional Denpasar yang kali ini melibatkan industri wisata dan Dinas Pariwisata Provinsi Bali serta blogger dan influencer internasional. Mohon maaf jika ada kesalahan yang disengaja maupun yang tidak disengaja. Sekali lagi kami ucapkan terima kasih. Selamat malam, sampai jumpa. And finally, we are at the end of webinar. Great thanks to all speakers who share useful information to us, and thanks to all participants for joining webinar today. We are sorry for any mistake during this session. Thank you. Good night and see you.